Hello, I'm Christopher Bayliss from Intergage FastGrowth, and today we're focusing on the workbook entitled Coach Your People for Fast Growth. I'm joined today by Paul Wallace. Paul, tell us the name of your company and what it does.
Christopher, my company's name is National Security Screening Agency, affectionately in our office shortened to NASA, and we are one of the leading agencies in the UK for carrying out security vetting of personnel, primarily in the security industry.
I can see why that would be very important for that industry. And what is your role in NASA?
I'm Managing Director.
I see. Okay, so back to the workbook. I'm just going to read for you and for our listener, because it's the first time you've seen this workbook, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
The purpose of this workbook, Paul, is to develop your effectiveness at coaching your people in NASA. So it's a skill-based workbook rather than a planning-based workbook. Make sense?
Okay.
And the goal is that within 12 months, your effective coaching is assisting your people at NASA to make significant progress towards achieving fast growth in your company.
Excellent.
Okay. And on page 1, if you turn to page 1, Paul, I talk about what's the problem. And as it says there, in some companies at the top, that is, in some companies there is a culture where managers mainly tell their people what to do. This can create a disempowered mentality in staff with attitudes such as, it's not my problem, it's not my responsibility, it's not my place. I think that's particularly prevalent in the military, Army, Navy, Air Force of old, where it was very much a tell culture, and then people say it's not my responsibility. And in today's modern, fast-moving economy, companies need a very different approach. Would you agree?
I do agree, yes.
And there are serious consequences for those companies, such as low productivity, poor morale, and slow growth. I know that you're passionate about football, and particularly the UK Premiership. There's some fabulous teams. It's been a great year this year, wasn't it?
It has, yes.
I won't tell the viewer which is your team, but in your experience, and there is a difference between a manager and a coach, they sometimes call themselves a coach, which of the Premiership teams, particularly at the higher level, in your opinion, has got a great coach?
Chelsea and Jose Mourinho.
And what is it that you admire in him as a coach?
He has a great way of empowering his people to do what he wants them to do in the direction that he wants them to do it in. And they take responsibility for their actions. And he's also not afraid to just change things at a glance to change the whole game.
Great. Yeah, I agree with that. And he's had results not only at Chelsea, but Real Madrid and other teams as well. Okay. I'd like to introduce you to my little friend, Ollie. Ollie the Owl.
Does he have a Twitter account?
Very good. Actually, in Western society, what is the owl a symbol for?
Wisdom.
Wisdom. And this is my wise old friend. That's what a coach is. Okay. However, since these videos will be watched by people from around the world and used around the world, I don't know if you know this, but what is, in Japanese culture, what is the owl a symbol for?
I don't know.
An idiot.
Okay.
So, to my Japanese viewers, I'd like to apologise ahead of schedule.
He has your eyes, though.
My first hint in using this workbook is on page 2. If you could turn to page 2, and if you could move Ollie out of harm's way, Paul, that would be great. The title of this page, Paul, is The Purpose and Objectives of Coaching. Not everybody understands what it is. So I'm just going to read for the reader and the viewer what it is. Okay. So the purpose of coaching is to unlock. Coaching is unlocking a person's potential to maximize their own performance and growth. We've all got tremendous potential, and a coach unlocks that potential. And that links a bit with what you said about Jose Mourinho.
Yes.
And the objectives of coaching are threefold. One is to raise awareness. 2 is to generate responsibility in the person you're coaching. And 3, to develop self-motivation and empowerment. Make sense?
Absolutely.
Coaching is a huge thing now around the world. in Fast Growth, we have an approach to it. We call it the Faster Growth approach to coaching, and it's all about asking questions, rather than telling, obviously, asking questions and actively listening. So hint number 1 is think about your objectives for coaching and think about how well you listen and how well you ask questions. Make sense?
Okay. Yes, it does.
Because going back to the military thing, many organisations work on a tell culture. And the problem with that is there's very little learning involved. It comes from a tell culture. Okay. Hint number 2 is experience the power of coaching for yourself. And on page 3A is a very simple little page to define a process or show a process for coaching. And it's called the Fast Growth IO-GROW sequence of coaching questions, which generates awareness and responsibility. Namely, item, that's the I, outcome, that's the O, goal, that's the G, obviously, reality, options, the second O, and will. And remember, when you're working with people, when you're coaching your people at NASA, remember, help them create SMART goals.
Okay.
Okay? And then linked to, that's page 3A, linked to page 3A is that one pager. It's a one pager on coaching. And this is when you're coaching. Who would you want to be coaching at NASA over the next couple of months?
The newly promoted office manager.
Is that a man or
It's a lady.
What's her name?
Debbie Campbell.
Debbie Campbell. So when you're working with Debbie, okay, the name of the person you're coaching, you know, she would have in front of her a blank piece of paper and a pen, but you'd have this one pager. So you'd put Debbie's name at the top and your name as their coach and the date. And you'd ask them the question, what is the single most important item you want to focus on today? Can you see that number 1?
Yes.
And what's your desired outcome? And by when? And so forth. Goal and so forth. Really powerful stuff. You remember that one of your colleagues, Andy Galloway, was having a meeting on Monday.
Yes.
Last Friday he phoned me and I went through this with him and he used that for Ray Khan.
Excellent.
Do it. Do it. Have a go. Just try it. Even though this may seem a long way away from how you normally operate with people, just try it.
Okay. I certainly will.
And then it's a skill. So everything can and must be improved. So the third hint is continuously improve. And if you start doing this with Debbie and your team, after each coaching meeting, with them if possible, on page 4, develop effective coaching in yourself and others to improve the effectiveness as a fast growth coach. After your coaching meetings, write down specific answers to these 3 questions. Can you read the first bit for me?
Yes, number 1, specifically, what went well at the coaching meeting? E.g., how effective were my questions? How well did I listen to my coachee? What were my other successes?
Keep going.
Number 2, what other things did I learn at the coaching meeting? About the coaching process, about myself as a coach, about the person I was coaching. Number 3, specifically, what will I do differently at my next coaching meeting?
Bear in mind you might have a team of 6 or 7 people. They're all going to bring different items. If you continue asking yourself those questions and jotting down, you will become a really proficient coach very quickly. Make sense?
Absolutely, yeah.
And then with Debbie, when you next coach her, you can ask her these questions and ask her for a response. So, Debbie, after you can imagine yourself saying that.
Yeah.
Specifically, what went well at the coaching meeting? Now it's almost the reverse here.
Yes, yes.
Can you see that?
Yes.
So the clarity of the key items you raised with me, your coach, and then what did you learn? Specifically, what you do differently. And if you want to, and this is really powerful, if Debbie then starts using it with her people, you're starting the process of embedding coaching into the organisation. And you will see growth, fast growth, like you cannot imagine.
Yeah, I can.
Just with this one tool. And then finally, obviously, take action. We always finish on that, as you know, but that's not a hint. Obviously, do it. Decide when you're going to do it and just do it, and then review. So, would you like to be the wise old owl at NASA?
Yes, I would.
Coaching is the best way, I believe, you can become that wise old owl.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your time, and may I wish you every success with the growth of NASA over the next couple of years.
Thank you, Christopher.
Pleasure.